All of our information that we freely give away in censuses, questionnaires, delivery details, free trials, and other forms, there are only a few things that companies don't know about you. For instance, the size of your nipples and how much chest hair you have. We'll get round to that at the end of the episode, though. Hello and welcome to the Sometimes Serious podcast, where we're sometimes serious all the time. I'm your permanently perplexed, pernicious host, Michael Palmer. Today I'm joined by my constantly confused co-founder, Philip Edwards, and our lovely guest that suffers bountiful bouts of befuddlement, Reese Tuckfield. How are you?
I'll have you know the government knows exactly how big my nipples are. Like, it's not a question on the census, but I always write it in because,
You like to keep them informed?
yeah,
The rest
yearly
of
update.
the,
I
the
also
government.
make a box for the left and the right because you'd be surprised. They're actually different.
By a small amount or a large amount?
I'd rather not go into it, thank you very much.
The government's got like a most wanted list for nipples. Philip is up there quite high.
I'll have you know I'm
black
number
market.
1, 2, and
Number-
3.
Must be damn they take up 3 whole spaces.
Well, on that slightly worrying note, we'll try not to come back to that at the end. First topic for today, EA. Now, it's known that we're not exactly lovers of EA, and it's beginning to look like an investment group isn't either. So, CTW Investment Group has filed a report with the SEC that encourages voters to vote against EA's Say on Pay proposal because they believe, and I quote, they believe that, and I quote, exorbitant special equity awards are completely unnecessary at the moment, and accusing EA of being addicted to giving out those awards to its executives, those lovely bonuses that they so crave.
This is like an exact carbon copy of the story about Activision, where one of their investment groups is exactly the same for Robert Coatrag.
Yep.
Yeah, where they just kind of want massive bonuses, even though they really don't deserve it in the slightest.
And I wanted to bring this up purely because it looks like it might become a bit more of a thing. Just the whole thing might just snowball because the investors are going to start to pay more attention rather than just go, oh yes, we'll take our money and we won't look any more into it. They're looking at it going, what are you doing with that money now? Instead of just being happy to make more.
We've often asked, like, at what point does morality kick in over the cash? And, it seemed like that line was just constantly being pushed. But maybe we finally hit a point with, direct gambling to children. And admittedly, it took, 6 years of direct gambling to children. And then they've gone, this might be bad. Oh, damn, this might be bad.
How much
Might
do
be
you reckon?
bad. Gambling
Go
for
ahead.
young children, young, impressionable children that don't know any better. That might be bad.
I was thinking how much do you reckon that it's happened to one person's child, one person that sits in that investment group's child, and they're like, I don't like this, and then they've learnt about the bonuses and they've gone, I don't like that either. Just
I'd like to believe that there is morality involved, but let's be honest, it's probably just self-interest. It probably is just, hang on a minute, how come he gets 300 odd million a year when that money could be coming to us investors? I mean, maybe he shouldn't get as big of a bonus. I also wonder how much, I wonder if there is someone at the head of these investment groups who is savvy and is sensible and realizes the impending doom and looks at it and goes, this massive growth kind of looks like a bubble to me. Something always happens with bubbles. What is it? Because I'm pretty sure it isn't that they sustain forever.
No,
Huh.
no, no. They hit the surface of water and carry on in the infinite sea.
Just continually growing and growing and growing.
Yeah,
Flow.
yeah. The sea
You just
eventually
flow away.
becomes a gigantic bubble itself. Just
They flow
floats
in,
off the planet.
Just have a nice big bubble, and they just keep getting bigger, and nothing bad ever happens to it.
Oh shit! I just realised we're wrong. Bubbles pop, and everyone there's going to lose so much money. So maybe they're
Yeah.
kind of go, okay, let's make a little less money, and then we can continuously grow for years to come, rather than this massive expanse and then just
And then just bang, just nothing. And then before you know it, you're knee deep in lawsuits.
the investment groups won't have to worry about the lawsuits that come through.
No, they won't. They'll be fine. They'll be sitting pretty. But the article here says the reasoning mainly hinges on the exorbitant bonuses that EA ends up lavishing upon its execs. CTW argues that EA, and I quote here, is becoming a serial grantor of special awards, and going so far as to say EA appears to be developing a special award grant addiction, which are two things you didn't think you'd ever hear.
It sounds like the leader of that investment group thought that sentence would be cool. Like, yeah, we got him. What a great analogy. It's not really an analogy when you just said it directly. Oh, he murders so many people. It's almost like he's a lover of murdering.
I reckon that the only way they could have made it any more obvious is if they'd put just emphasis on the right word. Instead of it just being EA appears to be developing a special award grant addiction, they put an emphasis on a couple of words in there just to go, I was like, yeah, okay, we get it. Stop.
Right, fellow
See?
gamers?
Big. Yeah, gamers, we with you. We game all night. Gamer. What's up, my dude?
Yeah, with the lights on because we're responsible and don't want to ruin our eyes. It's like, shut up.
Because that's what gamers do, my dude. You stay up all day, drinking Mountain Dew and eating the reels. Yeah, that's what I do, gamer.
No, the thing is, that's like one level deep into the memes of gaming. They're not that deep. They are not that deep.
They're not even one sub-level deep.
We also like playing Atari and
Sonic.
We also
Dreamcast,
really enjoy
right, guys?
Dragon Quest 2.
Haha, have you guys played that? Tetris?
Way spooky.
Mate, I'll beat your ass in Space Invaders. they are always stuck backwards. They are
1v1 with Tetris.
1v1 me Tetris. No, don't. That's the thing. Don't do that. No.
Oh, we went to the arcade and Android Wilson laid down some fat coin on the arcade machine. Please stop.
That coin.
Please stop.
Please stop. But yeah, you say that as you get security to escort them out the building. Just going, look, you're a little bit too creepy for me, my dude.
You're like 50 years old and you're in an arcade machine surrounded by teenagers. Knock, knock, knock. Chris Hansen here.
Why did you have a seat right there?
So in the report that CTW filed, it mentions that the CEO/CFO Blake Jorgensen and CTO Kenneth Moss both received overlapping equity bonuses that triggered a second award before the first award's performance period had concluded. Further, CTW calls out the fact that there's no good reason for executive pay for performance structures to exist. In fact, they're redundant. Many executives, including the ones at EA, are heavily compensated in company stock options. If they succeed at their jobs and help grow the company, the stock appreciates. Their pay for performance is already baked into their organization's stock price. Helping bonuses of more equity on top of it all is unnecessary.
did you guys hear that the big companies like that do this really, really dirty trick where they inflate their own stock? That they'll claim and they'll say it publicly, hey, we're about to do a stock buyback. And when you announce that a company's doing a stock buyback, the stock price rockets because the company's doing so well, it wants to acquire its own stock. So the company's doing amazingly, so the stock rockets. And when it rockets, they then promptly sell off stock. It's happened a couple of times in the past couple of years where Activision and EA did it and then didn't proceed to buy back any stock. They just announced they were going to. Then the CEOs sold off their own stock, and then the company didn't bother to actually buy any back. It's almost like that's insider trading, which is illegal.
Yep.
Ah.
Unfortunately, need a bit more than observation to get people on that. Otherwise, I think a fair few people would already be done for it.
Real quick, that Blake Jorgensen,
Yes.
Blurgerson. Did you say he's the COO and the CFO?
Here it says COO/CFO, Blake Jorgensen.
Why the hell do they have one per... These jobs are meant to be so complicated and so massive and so time consuming that you get paid millions and millions a year. And he is the chief operating officer and the chief financial officer. Is anyone else smelling something fishy here that one person can do two of them?
Almost as if it's easier to do that job than it is to be on the ground actually making the video games.
Yeah.
I mean, why doesn't he just take on the others? CEO, CTO,
yeah, he just takes on
CCO.
every anacronymed role there is.
Sure, why not? He's now like head of the sound design, lead game tester, lead developer. Why not? Just chuck them all in.
Mail guy, coffee guy. You know,
Go boy.
he does it all.
Batista.
Fire of rounds at the bar.
Yeah.
Fireman fire.
Oh no! Wait, hang on. We're getting too far because the mail guy, the guy who actually handles all the mail and delivers them to the correct offices, actually has a job and works hard. It's all the acronym ones that they don't.
Meanwhile, this guy's up here at the top of the ring. He's just like, oh, I have a really difficult job. I show up to work and I breathe and I get paid millions for each breath I take. It's hard work. It's so hard.
I would like to imagine that he is also the mail guy, but only for himself, and he just keeps sliding one letter across his own desk, running around, throwing it back, just like, here, you got some mail. Oh, nice, you've got some mail. Just constantly talking to himself.
He's so rich, he can pay people to talk to him. Let's be honest.
Oh, I could.
No, he's so rich he'd pay people to pretend to talk to him, but with the proviso of, don't actually talk to me.
Don't look me in the eyes. Okay.
Just stand there making mouth movements.
I want you to speak to me, but also don't use words to me.
No. You're allowed to use, well, at least this is what I would do if I was that rich. I would pay people. You're not allowed to look at me. I want you to say words, but not in a coherent sentence. The sentence cannot make sense in any way, shape, or form, but it has to be the English language.
I think you'd end up firing a lot of people because I think a lot of people would actually trip up. They'd start off completely random, like pigeon, fleece, elephant alphabet. You'd be like, excellent. And then they'd accidentally string something together. No, you're fired, get out, you don't get paid.
Thing is, the moment they said it, I'd dart and look straight at them, and then they'd just kind of be still knowing what has happened as they just continue to try and do it. Like, no, nothing happened, I'm just making up words here.
He's basically asking his employees to speak Sims.
Yeah,
yes.
pretty much.
Yeah, so I thought I'd bring that up. Obviously they're not happy. The group the CTW investment group, this is, made some waves last month when it urged Activision shareholders to slash Bobby Kotick's compensation. That initiative failed. It only garnered approximately 43% of the votes.
I mean,
So
it's nearly half. That's a fair amount.
Yeah, but it's not enough. It's not enough to make that decision happen.
We should burn down the big companies. Not literally, figuratively. I'm not saying you should go out and make homemade Molotovs and firebomb their head offices. But, their head offices you can find on Google, and homemade recipes for napalm. I'm not suggesting you do it. I'm just suggesting that the tools are out there.
And
I'm
also
not
mixture of
suggesting you
vegetable oil.
should, but they could do without all of their left pockets as well.
What?
Get rid of all of their pockets. Be frustrating for them. Won't have to burn anything. Just cut out all their pockets.
Menzies does not understand the difference between an inconvenience to, or kind of actually hurting someone.
You ever tried to chuck change in your pocket and felt it roll down your leg and out your fucking shoe?
Easy. Put in your mouth, put in your boxers. Philip,
Put it in your
just do that.
What boxers do you have that have pockets?
The best kind?
Menzies, you also realise these guys are probably rich. They probably can just pay someone to hold their money.
They wouldn't. They're far too protective of it.
Philip's over here just saying, I'm not saying go burn the offices down, but also go ahead, and you're just thinking, no, there's something more devious than that. Cut the pockets up. I'm a fucking madman, put me in an insane asylum. I'm gonna go around
that would
slashing
drive
people's
them
box.
insane. That would absolutely drive them insane.
No, it wouldn't, because after the first two times, they'd just start using their right pockets.
What, for everything? How big are your pockets?
Very big.
How much crap do you think they carry on them?
16 pounds of fuzzy felt just
honest.
Because.
Yeah,
That's all they've got in their suitcase.
In their pockets, they've probably got, keys? Or I was going to say, not even their keys, probably because the butler probably drives them, or a chauffeur drives them to work. The phone, or, a wallet which has, $6,000 in it, just in case, they want, a little bit, hungry, and, need a quick bite, so they just go down and buy
they need a quick bite of caviar. Just nip up the road. Excuse me for a second. I need my caviar today.
Just like that, and you're going ahead, nah man, flash your pockets. Only the left ones, not even the right ones, or the back pockets. Then God help you, what happens, I'm just saying this, Alfie, I highly doubt anyone's going to be wearing this, but what happens if they're wearing cargo trousers? Do you just cut all the pockets on the left side?
Yeah, it's just more work
just
for him.
the top?
Yeah.
Menzies, your plan is flawed.
I personally think he makes a great supervillain.
What, just to mildly inconvenience everyone? I wouldn't actually hurt anyone. I would just be the most annoying bastard you've ever come across.
Mildly inconveniencing man.
Well, speaking of mild inconveniences, a leak has happened. A leak has happened that apparently couldn't have just waited until, Sunday. So, I found this article on a site dedicated towards Sony, Push Square. I occasionally go to their site for a few bits, but their opening bit irked me before I get to what the leak is. Their opening bit irked me. And it was, if it isn't Microsoft Store doing all the leaking, it's like, they don't leak everything. Stop. But they do continue to say it's the Hong Kong PlayStation Store.
Amazon leaks more than anything.
Yeah. But Far Cry 6 has been leaked ahead of this Sunday's Ubisoft Forward digital event.
To be fair, it wouldn't be a Ubisoft game if it didn't get leaked.
Oh, I just love the fact that it had to happen this close.
Also, I can tell you, someone at Ubisoft is going, yes, we're finally gonna announce a game before it gets leaked. This is great news, and some guy just accidentally presses the big red button and says, leak all.
Well, yeah. The thing is, they the leak has listed it as both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on the 18th of February 21. You apparently will get the next gen version for free if you buy it on the PS4 first. The leak also confirms the rumor that I do not know how to pronounce this guy's first name. Esposito is his surname of Breaking Bad. Will star in the game. Say again?
Esposito?
Yeah, but that guy's first name, I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't even want to attempt it.
I
I'll
know who you're
butcher
talking
it.
about. He was in Breaking Bad and also Payday. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy. He will star in the game. It's it's quite amusing that it had to happen, you know, the same weekend. Someone got a little bit excited.
I'm two minds. One mind that the people that are down there on the ground who have come out with this entire PR strategy, and they've thought it up and they're like, bang, we've got it, excellent, this is going to be amazing. I feel bad for them, but then on the other hand, I really don't care because it's Ubisoft. So, oh no, your game leaked and your PR plan was ruined. Oh, wow.
To be fair, when does Ubisoft like PR plans and games leak never go unruined? You remember the last time a Ubisoft game didn't get leaked?
Well,
No.
is anyone really excited for this?
Not really.
What, Far Cry 6? No, not
Yeah.
really.
This is Ubisoft, and this is modern day Ubisoft. The last game they put out was Breakpoint. I mean,
Which I hear is getting updated, and it will be at the Ubisoft show.
What are they going to show this time? Their next
More ways to
thinly
take your
veiled
money.
disguise for monetization, or
no, it's probably them announcing that they've finally added the co-op AI partners. Because who'd have thought it? A squad-based game, you might want AIs. Who'd have thought?
You know for a fact as well, those AI sort of companions we will have will be just brain dead.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
it's Breakpoint.
I was going to go with a more sweeping generalization of AI partners in games, but sure.
It's
Well,
Breakpoint. It's gonna be broken.
This is Ubisoft, and it's Breakpoint. Do I honestly believe that they've been pumping resources into that game? No. It's probably a skeleton crew who are doing their best. But the game's dead.
Well, the store listing has the description of "Welcome to Yarra, a tropical paradise frozen in time." As the dictator of Yarra, Anton Castillo is intent on restoring his nation back to its former glory by any means, with his son Diego following in his bloody footsteps. Their ruthless oppression has ignited a revolution. How generic does that sound?
It sounds like every other Far Cry.
Aye. The last good Far Cry that came out was Far Cry 3. Even though I like 5 and New Dawn, I can tell that they're just bad games, but I like them. The only good Far Cry game, the last good one that came out was 3. And how many years ago was that?
I will correct you. 3 wasn't the last good one. Blood Dragon.
But that was still
I
Far
haven't
Cry
played
3.
that one.
But it was a DLC.
No, well, it technically was, yeah, but it was its own thing. It wasn't an expansion. They released it as its own game.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Dragon was phenomenal.
Okay then, Blood Dragon. I would just say in 3, just because Blood Dragon it uses like a lot of the same of 3. But to be fair, so does every other Far Cry.
Yeah,
It
takes
was
place
just
on the same map, but everything else is different.
yeah. Like, okay then, New Dawn. Blood Dragon was the last good Far Cry game, and how many years ago was that?
Too many. I think they realized that they hit a stride because Far Cry 2 was good, and it was
I
it was
enjoyed
kind of
that.
like this weird hit where it's kind of like there's so many things wrong with it, but there was that core there, and it was like it's actually a good game, even though I'm oh, I've got malaria, great fun. And then 3 was amazing, and then it's just kind of been just oh yeah, we got this formula. I suppose that's Ubisoft really. Oh yeah, we got this
Yeah.
formula. Now let's just do it over and over and over and over. Can we get
Until
something
we
new?
run it into the ground.
Get something original.
Okay, but, and I'm only playing devil's advocate here, I'm not disagreeing with you. Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors
Have gotten
up and
progressively worse.
but their formula, quote unquote, was what worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
They changed it with Dynasty Warriors 9. Look what happened with that.
But that's kind of a false equivalency to make because just changing the equation doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, if you took, let's think of a great game, Dragon's Dogma. You take Dragon's Dogma, and in the next one, we're going to make the same game, but we're going to change it a bit, and we're going to make all of the players crap. We're going to make them terrible. We're going to make all the skills terrible. Why is it a bad game? I mean, it's just the same as the first one, but we only changed this one thing. Dynasty Warriors 9, they added something terrible. And they didn't think about it properly, and they didn't implement it correctly. It's not really the right equivalent. I mean,
I get what you mean, but that formula was changed. And to be fair, I don't think a Dynasty Warriors would have worked with any open world in hindsight anyway. Was hoped for it.
Empires would.
Empires, yes, but a mainstay game, no.
No.
And I feel
Empires,
like with
Empires could really work.
I feel like with Far Cry though, there's not much that they could do to actually revive it and bring it back in a fresher way now though. It's been the same for so long that anything that we could collectively agree is genuinely new for the series and that isn't just like a new weapon or a new vehicle would actually feel too alien for the series.
I don't agree. I'm not saying you have to change something massive. I'm not saying you all of a sudden have to add in, I don't know, base building. But some kind of, civilization base building mechanic like AC Brotherhood, that could work really well. What about make the combat far more realistic? Why not lean into a more gritty dark side and make it realistic?
Can I say something? I was actually going to say, if they've actually kept done in the past, Far Cry 2 was a lot more realistic, such as if you kept using the same gun, it would jam quite consistently until you cleaned it or got a new one. And if you used it far too much at that point, the gun would just blow up. And it was a lot more realistic from what I did play.
And as for that whole base building-esque bit, New Dawn.
Yeah, New Dawn actually had base building.
Yeah, you actually had sections that you have to build up. So it did not feel good.
Okay,
No,
but we can agree there is a way to implement that kind of mechanic without it being intrusive or boring. AC Brotherhood.
Not played AC Brotherhood, but I do know that the base building there was actually quite good. Or really
AC2
any other
even.
game. I haven't played that one either. Only Ezio game I've played is Revelations.
There are ways to implement these mechanics, even without looking outside of Ubisoft. And we know how Ubisoft likes to cannibalize its own games.
Yeah.
Why not just take their own shit and move on? Why not use stuff from there? Like, have it more gritty and realistic, like they were trying with Breakpoint. Why not do that? It's possible. You've got Breakpoint right there. I mean, the team's not doing much. Why not shift them over? Why not change it from this? Oh, you're on this island again, and there's a dictator again, and the dictator has some very bad people under him again, and they've been doing some really bad stuff again.
Yeah, I get it. The writing definitely needs to improve with Far Cry.
Because
Can't keep having the same story with different names.
Yeah. Like, Far Cry 3 was, you had Vass, who was just a pirate, but Vass technically wasn't even the bad guy. He died like halfway through the game, and then a dictator rolled through of a mercenary group, and then Far Cry 4 it's a dictator, and then Far Cry 5 it's a mad priest. Far Cry New Dawn it's just two mad sisters. And all of them are just overruling just one area. Can we stop with the overruling of areas?
See, the thing is that they have this. Like, each one's got this kind of spark. Like, Vast was amazing. I actually really liked Pagan Min because he was kind of like his arc was great because he was crazy and he was evil, but he wasn't evil to you. All he actually wanted was just to connect with you because he loved your mother and he wanted to be your father.
Yeah, which is also
That's it.
one of the things with Far Cry 4 as well, which I did like about Far Cry 4. If you actually do listen to Pagan and just wait, you do get the best ending.
Well, you get a ending.
Yeah, I was going to say, the best is probably not the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of innocent people that got murdered by his evil regime probably doesn't mean it's the best ending.
But then there's also the other two endings if you fight with the fact the resistance aren't as good either.
No.
Yeah, that was pretty much a choose the lesser evil.
Which, can we stop for once? Like, I get it to make moral choices harder in video games. It's not always black and white. I get it. But at least give us the option, like, yeah, there's black, there's all these kinds of grey, and there's a white. Because someone there would not have been a complete scumbag. Someone there wouldn't have been, let's make children grow cocaine, and then we'll sell cocaine to fund our armies. No, that's not a good idea.
And also, I would like to point out that not everyone in the situation that the main character is in would be the same as the main character and just go for the lesser evil. Some people would just go, yeah, well, good luck with your resistance, then I'm out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do it, don't lock us down. Actually, let us do it. Let us go, you know what, fine. I'm here to do this job and kill this guy. I really cannot be bothered to deal with any of you people. You want to grow cocaine? Do it. You want to murder children? Do it. I don't care. You are all scumbags. Or just you can be the hero and I'm going to save everyone. Let us do that. Don't just give us, here's grey or grey or black.
Yeah.
Where's white? Why can't we have more villains like, and I don't know how many times I've said it and I'll keep saying it, Faith. Faith was amazing because she became really relatable and she had this really fraught, horrible backstory and she doesn't want to fight you. She doesn't want to be there, but she is. And she's got a job to do. And she's just kind of desperate for you to save her, really, even though she can't really be saved. That's a good arc. Why is it? Oh, his generic bad guy ruling over his land. And I bet we're going to get a scene where he does something horrific to someone you love. Like, oh no, watch him murder all these children. Oh no, oh, he's eating them. Oh, he's so bad. Now go out, hero, and clear off these billion check marks on this incredibly large map for the next 80 hours. That'll be him.
The thing is this with the Far Cry games is they've always just tried to redeem Vass. always just try to redo him. Pagan Men was kinda like Vass, but the only thing that would made him different was he actually liked your protagonist and just kind of wanted to help you, even though you were slaughtering his troops. Still wanted to help you. And then we had Joseph Seed. That was just insane. He was just mental, and then we had the twins and Nudon that were just insane and just wanted to do it just for the love of it.
Yeah, I
That was
have to
it.
say, I haven't completed New Dawn, and I'm not impressed with the antagonists. I, despite owning it, still have not gotten around to playing 3, despite the recommendations. But, yeah, we're not, well, us here, we are not excited for Far Cry 6. I just found it rather amusing that they couldn't, you know, make sure there wasn't a cock up before the reveal. And it was the same weekend that they just went, whoops, here you go. This is when it's going to release. Have fun.
The thing is,
Can I
is they
float?
know they know they keep leaking their own games all the time because I remember in Watch Dogs 2, there's like a little side mission, like a home invasion type, where you can look into people's lives, and one of them is you look into a Ubisoft employee's life, and he's on the phone with like a head at Ubisoft saying, "Don't worry, this trailer for the next Ubisoft title won't leak. If it does, you can fire me," and you leak it. It's just even they know it's a joke and how often their trailers and games get leaked.
Can I float one last Far Cry idea for you?
Go on.
It's just how about instead of having all of these crazy antagonists, sorry, that are just it was so wacky. Can we lean hard the other side? Can we go someone who's just evil but isn't wacky about it and is just, kind of that unstoppable evil that no matter what you do, you lose because this person is smarter
Yeah.
than you, they're better than you, they're stronger than you, they're more well equipped, they're just evil. Not crazy evil, just evil evil. Just the calm, kind of psychotic evil that's actually terrifying. Not the, oh, you don't know what I'm going to do next. Just the kind that will crouch down in front of you, look you dead in the eyes, and just go, I'm going to slit your throat, and then I'm going to murder everyone you've ever cared about. That kind of dark evil. Wouldn't that be better?
That would.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing them, they're going to want to make it quirky. So my suggestion would be maybe make it so that they've got someone managing their resources, giving them suggestions about how to go places. Maybe name them Bobby Coatrag. Just an idea. Have a dig at
I'm,
someone else.
I'm pretty sure if you give us time, I can come up with funny alternatives to the other CEO names.
But on the subject of CEOs, we're going back to Activision, but this time concerning Bungie. I'm assuming you know what I'm
Who
going
Bungie
to
are?
talk about. Well, I'm assuming you know what I'm going to talk about because this is this has been quite
A
what's the word I'm
bombshell,
looking for here? No, not a bombshell, just more of a
a
nice
relation.
thing to see where someone's actually come out and spoken sense instead of being completely political about it for once. And this all comes from Martin O'Donnell, who, was on the board of directors for Bungie. He composed the music for Halo. And, obviously I use past tense. He's no longer on the board of directors. And he's spoken very openly about the whole Bungie Activision deal where it concerns Destiny. And he said some very obvious things that no one else in the industry would admit to. Obviously they don't want to be kicked out of their position or fired, any of the above. But he has said that, they knew it was a risk right from the word go. It turned out to be exactly as bad as they thought it was going to be. And he did turn around and say everybody who no longer works for Bungie will turn around and say, yes, it was bad from the start. So he's had several interviews. He's been speaking about it, and one of the things that keeps popping up is where he says, if you still work for Bungie, you're going to be political and you're going to say all sorts of things like, oh, we had a good partnership and all that rubbish. We were able to build a wonderful thing, and the time came for us to go our separate ways because we each had different goals, but we're happy and we love each other. And that's BS.
Well,
And he says that. He says that. He says that political statement is bullshit. And that's excellent. It's not surprising. When Bungie and Activision separated and we first heard about Bungie, coming to complete ownership of Destiny, etc., we knew that there was something wrong there. We knew that there's something gone wrong, that they didn't like the way that Activision were trying to do things, etc. But all you ever get is the legal speak or the between companies politics and the political statements where it has to be very neutral at the worst and positive at the best. So
I mean, officially, but didn't you guys hear the stories that leaked out that when the deal was signed and it was actually, signed on the dotted line, they're separate, Bungie employees in all of the offices celebrated.
oh yeah,
There were screams of delight when it was actually,
Yeah.
yep, we're free of them. It's like, yes!
yeah. But
Not surprised in the slightest.
the moment that the interviews happened, it all went straight back to the politics and all of that, just to keep the peace or whatever rubbish it is that they do it for. Honestly, I think if I owned that company, I would have just turned around and gone, Activision? Yeah, a bunch of wankers, mate.
Where you don't want to burn potential bridges because you might need their help in the future.
I think I'd still have turned around and gone, Activision are a bunch of wankers.
You'd check all your legal documents first, and then when you go, hang on, I just need to read this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Just
we're
on
good.
camera,
You're a
I'm,
bunch of
like,
wankers.
flicking
Just like, yes. The thing is, that's like, knowing him, he would just like Menzies, he would just get like this fucking big ass book from nowhere, just going, hold on, and you see the legal definition I can call you without being sued. Ah, yeah, here it is. Wank.
So yeah, he O'Donnell has said a few things like there are so many scripted answers out there. The fact that the deal was, and quote, not a marriage made in heaven at all, which, duh. So the reason why they went to Activision, O'Donnell says, was not just the money, but it was because as part of the contract they didn't own the IP. And O'Donnell said it was non-negotiable. It was a non-negotiable item for him in his discussions with the rest of Bungie's board before making the deal with Activision. And in a shocker revelation, as they put it here, O'Donnell also reveals that Bungie was very close to making a deal with Microsoft for Destiny before Activision won out. And he did say that they almost went back to Microsoft. Now, I don't know what that would have looked like. Probably just the same game, to be fair, with the same monetization and tactics. But
the thing is this, with Microsoft recently, I don't think that, since they've been quite consumer friendly.
Exactly
yes, recently.
With
for the
at the
first
start
one,
with Yusuf Mehdi, no, but now with Phil Spencer.
yeah, but for the first Destiny, and do you really, really think that they would have stayed after all that? I don't think they would. I think it'd probably have been the same game. If they had stuck with Microsoft up to now, then maybe Destiny 2 might look quite a bit different, but I think back then it was probably much of a muchness. They just went for the thing that was more favourable for them. So O'Donnell also said that
Can I
Activision not
ask
only
a
didn't have...
question? Just
Go for it.
just to the both of you with Destiny. Because, Bungie no longer has like people paying them now, like Activision or back then Microsoft. Do you reckon Destiny will survive now? Like keep enough money to keep the servers on?
It still is, but that is an entire discussion for if the situation changes.
And my answer is yes, because they got over 100 million from Tencent.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Oh yes.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so O'Donnell says that Activision not only didn't have the legal right to mess with the IP, but the only way they would be prevented from messing with the IP is if all leadership at Bungie said you can't mess with the IP, and that's not what happened, and that's why they fired him. So he's obviously... he says that was probably his biggest disappointment. I think that's putting it very mildly. I reckon he's probably a little bit more miffed than that.
Yeah.
He said, we worked for a decade to make sure we could be in a position where we could stand up to the publisher and say, no, we own the IP, you can't mess with it. And I was overruled and eventually let go.
Hang on. Can you read the first bit again?
We worked for a decade to make sure we could be in a position where we could stand up to the publisher and say,
before that, the bit before that about it requires everyone.
Activision not only didn't have the legal right to mess with the IP, but the only way they would be prevented from messing with the IP is if all the leadership at Bungie said you can't mess with the IP.
But the only way to stop them is if everyone says, no, you can't do it.
Correct.
Which, if he got fired, means he was on the opposite side. So does that mean everyone else was saying no and he was saying yes?
No, because after that it says, and that's not what happened, and that's why they fired me.
So a lot of the other people were saying yes and he was saying no, but that wouldn't explain why he was fired, because then they could still mess with the IP, because it requires everyone to stop them. So as long as there's one person who's, yeah, go for it, then they can.
That
so
is exactly
his one vote is inconsequential. It's nothing.
Yeah, but because he wasn't a yes man, that's why he was let go. That's what I just read. That was probably my biggest disappointment. We worked for a decade to make sure we could be in a position where we could stand up to the publisher and say, no, we own the IP, you can't mess with it. And I was overruled and eventually let go. So he was constantly overruled, and they let him go because he wasn't on their side.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you fire the guy when his vote is nothing and he is nothing? It's basically a gnat that's flying around you, and you're just like, well, I could clap and squash you, but what's the point? The energy required to clap and squash you is not enough. It's like too much energy to squash.
But they were probably viewing it as, what's going to take more energy? Having to deal with someone that's going to constantly be against us, or just have another person on the board who's a yes man, or just have one less person on the board.
Well, I mean, the cash to get him out must have been extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. Since Martin O'Donnell has, he did the music for all the Halo games, Reach and ODST included, and then Destiny as well. Not to mention other games he's most likely done as well.
I mean, if he's on the board, getting rid of him would have been difficult, and it would have required a lot of money. I'm not seeing the sense there.
Well, I've got how to put this? A fun, unspoken part of the business dealings that he retells in this interview. One of the more chilling revelations, sorry, I could not get that word out, from the interview is a story that O'Donnell shared about a dinner he had with Activision's executives just before the deal was done, including CEO Bobby Coatrag and CFO, that O'Donnell referred to as an Austrian man from the Vienna School of Economics. He never made a mention of what the name was, but Activision's former CFO was Thomas Tippel, I believe you pronounce that. It's just double PL at the end. An Austrian man who was involved in the deal to sign Bungie for Destiny. Go on.
So it's him. I like it. It's basically like, it's this guy, but I can't say his name, but this guy. I could only be describing this guy.
Yeah, basically. And O'Donnell shared that that he has a saying, be nice to the goose. So, the whole geese, golden eggs, that thing. So he said that, and in that analogy, Bungie is the goose that lays the golden egg, and that golden egg is Destiny. And this unnamed Austrian business executive said back, yeah, I like that story. Golden eggs, the goose, but sometimes there's nothing like a good foie gras. What is wrong with me today? And just for those of you who don't know, foie gras is a French cuisine, and it's made from goose liver. It's made after the bird has been fattened by force feeding.
Yeah, they force feed it junk.
Yeah.
They force feed it like
it
sweets and sugar and junk to make it sweeter and then kill it.
So, that kind of just sounds like torture.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It entirely is. And obviously, when that response fell out of this certain Austrian man's mouth, O'Donnell was a little bit spooked that Activision saw Bungie as a goose to be fattened and then killed off. And today he wishes he had raised concerns to his colleagues. He said the red flag went off. So I will just finish this bit before you say that. The red flag went off. I'm in the middle of sipping some wine and he says that. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt like I was in a Twilight Zone episode. What I should have done is stood up, flipped the table and told all the other Bungie guys, we have to get away from here now. But that only happens in my dreams.
Yeah. The fact that he was caught like, oh no. And that was his first, like, oh, they might be evil. Are you dumb? You've been in this industry longer than I have, and I can see it plain as day, and have seen it plain as day for years. It's what they do.
I was going to say, maybe it's just as an outsider it's easier to see that. I'm thinking, wait a minute, no, that doesn't make any sense, because if he's in the inside, he should know how all this works. He should know how...
He was on the outside of Activision.
Yeah, so he was. So he was. Why did he not see this coming then?
Just look across the landscape, littered with the corpses of studios taken out by these giant juggernauts who just go, hey, that's a really great game you've got there. Come on into the fold. Now make a game you don't normally make. Oh, that was a bad game. Bang, you're dead. That's all they do. They cannibalize smaller studios. And this was the big revelation for him?
He's not exactly smart, because like, the main ones are Activision and EA. Because how many studios has those two just cannibalized and destroyed?
I don't get how he couldn't see that, and how it was this one analogy about foie gras that made him go, oh damn. Admittedly, it's a really dark analogy, and it would make most people go, like, it would make a normal human being put down their wine and go, what is wrong with you? What is actually wrong with you?
No, here, two of the three of us here anyway are English, and so let's face it, the English, we don't go, I can't believe you'd say that, what's wrong with you? We'd sit there and we'd go, and then carry on the conversation for fear of being impolite. Now I can't speak for the Scots, they'd probably just punch the person, but
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, I'll say something on his behalf. He wouldn't be at the table because they'd almost certainly serve vegetables, and Scottish people and vegetables, that's a no.
Yeah, that's a no. I don't like vegetables in the slightest. The
I
only thing I like is meat.
I would not
Anything
have been
meat.
quiet. I would have put down my glass and gone, what? Think about what you just said. I'm offering you infinite golden eggs, and you go, but what if we kill the goose after torturing it to death and then eat its liver? Infinite golden eggs or one-time liver? What is wrong with you?
I think the answer to that one is quite apparent in the fact that they were working with Activision.
But
That's
that's the
what's
thing.
wrong with them.
The deal wasn't signed yet, and there's
No, no,
always
no, no, no.
as you said, it was real close
That
between
that
Microsoft and
CFO.
them. Okay, you know what? No, go away. We'll go back to Microsoft.
So yeah. At the time that wow.
Activision.
Yeah, thank you. That one was making the deal with Bungie. They were, having their issues with Infinity Ward. I think it was. Yeah, Infinity Ward. Uh,
Mm.
With the whole Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They were, as O'Donnell puts it, they were eating the liver of an Infinity Ward while I was sitting at that table. I thought we were protected from them doing that to us, and I was wrong. My gut instinct was, this is bad. We shouldn't do this. That's hindsight, though. I'm sorry, but if that was your gut instinct at the table, why didn't you actually turn around and go, can we just get back to you in just a moment? Walk out with all of your colleagues and go, let's not.
Mm.
That a good analogy would be like, we just chummed the water a bunch, and now we've put a big hunk of meat in there. There's a great white shark in there, and he's eating the meat. But because he's eating the meat, it means he won't eat me. I'm gonna go for a quick swim, and then I'm gonna swim up and give him a little rub because he's a great white shark. When else am I gonna get the chance? I'm not gonna get eaten. What? Yes, you are, and you're gonna get eaten very quickly.
About 3 bites at most. And that's if they're feeling
But
playful.
well, in their mind,
Honestly.
it doesn't matter. I'm wearing this special scuba suit. But it only works if all of us agree that I'm wearing the special scuba suit. If one person disagrees, then the scuba suit disappears. What is wrong with you?
I don't know why companies will go to these like Activision EA because obviously you've seen the news. If you make one bad game, one accident, you're fired. Your company is cancelled. Your company is gone. I think BioWare are like one of the only ones that have actually survived one of these encounters.
Well,
That's it.
depending on how big you are and how great of a reputation you've got, depends on how many failures you can have. Because Visceral knocked it out of the park, and it was like, oh my god, Dead Space 1, yes. Oh my god, Dead Space 2, okay, and then Dead Space 3, oh, and then Battlefield Hardline, and then there goes
Yeah,
Visceral.
that was it. And then, if you want to take a look at the other side, Blizzard.
Mm.
They're still around. So, wonder how many more mistakes they've got in them.
I don't think Activision can kill Blizzard.
No, I don't think they can.
Just because I think it's still technically its own entity, even though
Yeah, but legally
They're still a
speaking,
part
it's
of
not.
Activision.
well, yeah,
Even
because
though, like,
because it has its own CEO, CFO, COO, it kind of exists in a special place, even though the overarching company is Activision, and Activision are just being really seedy, and like each time one of the CEO left, so Activision put one of their guys in. The CFO left, so they put one of their guys in. The COO leaves, so they put one of their guys in. And then
Yeah, I reckon
end up
they
here.
could still kill it, but it takes some very special circumstances.
Well, remember we had this discussion, what, a year ago, 2 years ago, where I predicted that Activision and Blizzard became Activision Blizzard. And sooner or later, it would just become Blizzard because Blizzard's name carries more weight. I don't think that's the case anymore because they're killing Blizzard's name. So Blizzard's name
Yeah.
ain't going to be worth anything, so there is no need to keep them alive.
Yeah, because let's be honest, like Blizzard in like maybe a year, maybe two, won't have anything because Overwatch is dead. Overwatch 2 will be dead in the water. Diablo 4 will be gone. That will be terrible. They've treated World of Warcraft awfully and every other Blizzard title. And I'm sorry to tell you that, Menzies. Diablo 4 is going to be shit.
I know it is, but you've got to understand. I'm a lover of Diablo. I am
Yeah.
a lover of
I'm just
Diablo,
saying,
and
don't get your hopes up. Because
I'm
you
not
will
getting
be
my
soon.
hopes up, but it's really hard to ignore that sliver of hope in me that's just like, please be good, please.
Listen, I'll help you out. Take that sliver of hope, shoot in the fucking back of the head. You ain't got nothing. It's going to be bad.
I know it is. I just don't want to believe it. But I was right. Philip and I were having a conversation the other day, I think it was, about people. Well, couldn't remember who it was talking about it. Someone being pushed out, made to give up their stocks and all of that. It was O'Donnell. In 2015, he won his legal case against Bungie. A court-appointed arbitrator ruled that Bungie violated its contract with O'Donnell when it fired him without cause, quote unquote, and made him give up his company stock and drop out of Bungie's profit-sharing plan. They properly forced him out, and they did not want to give him a single cent.
Okay, so it was Activision being too cocky, like, I mean, we're not going to get any backlash from this. Let's get rid of him. And then backlash came, and
Yeah.
now they have to pay out the arse. Oh,
Yeah.
actually,
It was against
In-
Bungie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Bungie suffers the cost, not Activision.
yeah. But
Probably why they had to take
O'Donnell-
100 million from Tencent.
well, the 100 million was from NetEase to make non-Destiny games, but you know,
Yeah,
but
as if.
Yeah.
that's what the legal part says. I'm just reading that. That's all.
Yeah. As if.
Let's be real. Bungie only knows like two things. That's Halo, way back when, and now Destiny. Have they made anything other than Halo and Destiny?
Not yet. Doesn't mean they aren't working on something.
I'm pretty sure they used to. Before Halo, they made stuff.
I'm saying, like, during like
I-
Halo's life cycle, and then after it, what else have they made?
But that's like saying, does Bethesda make anything other than Elder Scrolls and Fallout? Yes, they made a ton of other stuff. It's just right now they only make that.
Either way, O'Donnell moved on and co-founded an independent game studio, Haywire Games, published a VR title for PS4 called Gollum. But, you know, at least he's busy. At least he's, I don't know. No, I would say not sour about it, but the interview would say otherwise.
To be fair, that it sounds more like he's come to terms with it rather than, he could have been really passive aggressive and he could have been, slyly attacking them. Instead he was just like, this is what it is. They pushed me out. They're dicks. They lost one of the greatest composers in video games. Sucks to be them, really.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well-
Microsoft, he's a free agent. Give him a bunch of cash and be like, hey, we need you to create the next soundtrack.
You know what? I think they've already done that. I think he's already working on Halo Infinite. Because one of the YouTubers I watch for Halo, he's doing an interview with him on Halo.
Okay.
Hand him a bunch
So
of
I
money.
think-
Let's go,
I
boys.
think Microsoft is like 2 steps ahead of you, but let's be honest, that's been Microsoft of late.
Hey, how dare
Yeah,
you?
they have
I'm
been.
I'm most of the time ahead of Microsoft.
Well, I've got two more topics. One's amusing, and that's coming last. This one though, um, digital digital extremes are known for Warframe. That's all I know them for, but I'm not getting
What
into
a short
how
list.
well I know Warframe. So
Sector, I think was the game they made before.
yes, it was, but like I say, I didn't know that game. I only know Warframe, so I know them for Warframe. It's after that that I've looked into other things, but um, they there's a company that owns them, has a majority share in, outright owns Leu, I think it's called, the company. Um, Leu Technologies Holdings. They are the ones that own Digital Extremes, and uh, they have decided to, allow themselves to be bought out, and Sony is considering a bid for it. Now, we don't know anything other than the fact that Sony's considering it. There's been no reports of Sony saying yes or no, but if it does happen, if Sony do buy them and thus own Warframe, it means it's going to be yet another game that gets, I don't know, what's the average? A month, isn't it, of exclusivity to Sony platforms before anything goes to anything else. And I think for a game that was made popular on PC, that might be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Sony knows what they're buying, like if Sony does buy it and Sony knows what they're buying, they won't change a goddamn thing because it feels like Warframe is this fragile house of cards. It's like do not mess with it. Nobody
Yeah.
touch it. 'Cause if you touch it, you're ruining it. Just let's just leave it
Yeah,
alone and just look at it and enjoy it.
yeah.
Probably the best thing to do, even though I don't really like Warframe and play it. I know you two do. So I'm just gonna leave this one to use because I know, like, Warframe has been pretty successful. It's been pretty successful from launch to now. Not much bad rep I've heard from it. So the best thing they
Well,
could probably do is just not touch it. Don't
the,
do
the
anything bad to it.
the great thing with it was everyone that supported it way back before it released, everyone that became a backer and got the um, Excalibur Prime frame for it, and all of that, they saw the potential even when it was bare bones basic, and even by their descriptors, basically trash. But they saw the potential, and Digital Extremes didn't give up with it. They worked on it. They've made it better. It's a game that's based around grind, so I get why there are a lot of people that don't have the time or patience for it.
That's me.
And it's a very pretty game. I enjoy it. I just I I haven't got anything against Sony, not personally anyway. And you know what? They want to go and acquire something, fine, go ahead. But I feel like it would be a very, very, very big mistake if they did with this. Purely because the updates to Warframe, when they come, they are always tested on PC first. Consoles always get them afterwards. Sometimes with a few extra patches, sometimes not. Sometimes not by design as well, when there was a whole mistake with the way that you could breed your pets, and you could end up with some weird genetically misfigured cat dog hybrid thing. And the community loved it so much that Digital Extremes made a statement saying that when it came to console, they'd leave it in for about 2 weeks so that everyone would have a chance to go ahead and have their own weird little mutated pet. And then they patched it out for stability's sake. But I feel like if Sony buy it and they do their usual exclusivity of time rather than permanence, it's going to damage Warframe quite a bit.
I agree.
Mhm.
Sony's always got more of a closed fence policy, and they don't really like to share.
Yeah.
Microsoft's kind of the exact opposite. Look at Mojang. They purchased Mojang outright. Has Minecraft stopped being on PlayStation? No, of
No.
course not. Because Microsoft don't care. It's like,
Mhm.
you're giving us money.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone can have it. Everyone can give us money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I've not really liked about PlayStation is they really want exclusives when no one nowadays really does exclusives.
Oh,
The only
well,
games you would really see exclusives for are like Nintendo games.
the I think Nintendo's a unique one though. Nintendo's very well, it's always tried in the past to be seen as the family friendly one, and so
Family
its
friendly
exclusives
consoles.
are very much that usually. But that aside,
for too much longer.
no, they can't. But that aside, we won't know anything. At least not until the end of the month. We won't know anything about any of this. So I
You know
just
what's
have
far
my
more
hope.
likely?
Don't say it, please. Don't go on.
A Chinese giant takes it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they are Hong Kong anyway. They're Hong Kong listed, so let's not.
A Chinese
Please,
giant will take it.
no. Let's stop jinxing it
No,
for them.
it's
Let's
not jinxing it. It's just
no
the
no no
reality
no
No,
of
no
no,
no no
no,
no.
no,
If
no.
the
you
He's
modern
don't
right.
age.
say it, if you don't say it anymore, I can live in hope that it's not going to happen.
Okay, okay.
Please.
I won't say it directly, but the reality of the industry is that there are certain places on the planet that are desperate to try and infiltrate certain markets on the planet by purchasing companies and filling them with insidious junk. Do those places on the planet then take all of the data that you're giving this game and use it for their own benefit? Most likely. Even,
Well, it's
I'd
funny.
probably go
It's
like
funny you should bring that up
98%.
actually, because that is a perfect segue into my last topic. And I have to preface this with I am saddened by the fact that I found this article in The Sun of all places. Ye
Ew.
gods. Yeah.
What are you
But
looking there for?
but I could not ignore this because I found it absolutely hysterical. So you know the series of phones called OnePlus? Uh the the OnePlus 8 Pro had infrared photochrome lens that could see through certain plastics and clothes. It was not by design, I will say this. It was not by design that it could see through, I don't know, like a television remote or any other plastic surface that was made of the same sort of plastic and clothing. It was meant to be a funny filter that you could apply to your camera and take wacky photos, but it, people found out that they could see the electronics underneath. There was a photo here of someone's top hob, the hob, and they took a photo with that filter on, and they could see all of the wiring. People have done it with clothes. They've held notes and objects, that's the word I'm looking for, underneath their clothes, and then all of a sudden with that filter you can see exactly what's underneath their clothing.
Um, just out of curiosity, is this phone still on the market, and how much?
Well, funny you should ask that. The phone
how
is
this gone
still on
to
the
the where?
market. It's probably about £1,000, but I don't know. However, its X-ray vision, as everyone's calling it, has actually been disabled.
Okay.
So, no joy
So
to
get the
any
phone and there'll
pervert
be an
looking
app
for
that re-enables it. Gotcha.
it. Only once you've jailbroken it, though. So yeah, it's yeah, OnePlus temporarily blocked the camera in response. In a software update released on Wednesday, it wipes the camera's X-ray powers for good, apparently.
How long until
But
someone makes it again? How long until someone re-enables it?
oh, it's only a matter of time, honestly. And because it's not an iPhone, it can, probably be jailbroken quite easily. So, give it about a month, I'd say, and someone will have an app out there for any jailbroken version of that phone to re-enable it. Yeah, someone here posted a tweet, which is a picture of their hob, and they said the OnePlus 8 Pro's X-ray feature is very cool to mess about with, so I'll be sad to see it removed at some point in the near future now. And yeah, there are the coils. That's the wiring, all of that. You can just see it. Um, the statement released was the new update still allows customers to shoot in the unique photochrome style, and photos are actually clearer than they were before. But clearer, but not see-through. And I think that's what most people were looking forward to.
I'm a big advocate for there should be some kind of service for
That's
that,
one way of putting it.
but it should be very public. So if you whip out your phone and you point it at this woman or point it at some dude's junk and you're like, hello, it should obviously be consensual. So, you as the female or the male can upload your pictures to this service. But then the moment the person is like, this person's nudes, please, it should immediately be like, wah, 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 and just let
I was
everybody
thinking,
know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
I should feel like, it should be like that, and you have to hold it up for 5 seconds to properly get the picture.
Yeah, you
And then
have
just
to
go,
actually hold it and point it at this person so it can scan their face and then access the database and get you the person's nudes that they've uploaded to go, yeah. But it should outright be like, pervert detected. Pervert detected.
it should be like a doomsday siren or like a World War II air raid siren just going off.
See, now, I said that it wasn't the intended effect, and I said that because that's the official statement. I personally, as an individual, do not believe that. Purely because the lens uses infrared to add a unique, quote unquote, colour to your photos. So, who reckons that some very silly sod decided to pop that in on purpose? Absolutely knew what they were doing.
Someone did it. If no one did it, then I don't know. Then
It's very possible. It is very possible that it was accidental because let's be honest, these big companies are so out of touch. It is extremely possible. I'd like to believe that someone was like, I can sneak this in and it won't gain much traction or attention, but the people who are in the know are in the know. And, it will spread in popularity and it would just be this kind of like down low, sly little feature that people are like, hey, did you know this phone can, do that? That. And then it got blown out of proportion, and then whoever it was like, damn it! Guys, can't you just be chill? Please, just be chill.
Well, to further dash the dreams of anyone who's seeking an X-ray camera for any reason, perverted or otherwise, it only works on very thin plastic casings and with select items of clothing. So all of the pictures here, it does not look like any of them are made with wool. It looks like it's cotton at best. So, it's not like you could walk up to someone who's wearing a big woolen jumper and go, hey. Probably wouldn't work.
I mean, it's obviously wrong, like a breach of people's privacy, and you shouldn't go looking up people's nudes or trying to spy on them. It's just wrong and creepy. But it's kind of funny, and we're obviously joking about it. But please don't be a creep. Please.
But I second that. But if I had an X-ray camera, I think I could safely say that I would go about my entire house seeing what I could get the internal shots for. Actually, I wonder if it would work on the. No. That would be consensual. She is engaged to me. Hush, she gums.
We weren't
She's not the only one in your house, though.
I was going to say, we weren't talking about her. You know who we were talking about.
I'm not going up to my brother-in-law with that. No.
No, you just pull out your phone. You're just slyly looking at it as you turn on the camera. It's like,
as I turn on the camera and this klaxon goes off, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Nothing. No. Just setting alarms. No.
Don't worry about it. Pervert detected.
See that Philip? He's calling me again, man. This is my ringtone for him. Every time he calls me, it says "pervert detected." Go about your day.
Don't worry, it's nothing to do with you. Oh, this blinking light that's shining directly at you, just ignore that as well.
This laser beam? No, don't worry about
it. Dearie me. Right, well, I think that about does us for this week.
Isn't there a segment you're forgetting?
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Time for Menzies is mildly interesting. I'm never going to let this die. Never.
I want one of you to pick a number between 1 and 40.
So 23 is off the table. We had 25 last week, I think it was.
Yes, we did.
So let's go 24.
In 1923, a jockey suffered a fatal heart attack, but his horse finished and won the race, making him the first and only jockey to win a race after death.
Did they stand him up on the podium or something? A couple of guys puppeteering him.
No, I would just like to think they just left him on the field and his horse won the podium.
I really hope they held him up and were proper puppeteered him really terribly. Just grabbed his chin. Thank you. I'm so glad I won this race.
On that note, that's a goodbye from me. Goodbye. A goodbye from Philip.
Goodbye.
And a goodbye from Reese.
Goodbye.